Hey guys, Shane McMurray from the Wedding Report. In this episode, I meet with Patrick, who is the owner of Enjoy Your Party. They are a service staffing company located in central New Jersey. They also have 4 other locations around the country. Enjoy. Patrick, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. Tell me about your business. Tell me where you guys are located. Tell me your website address, all that good stuff.
Well, thanks for having me on today. I certainly appreciate it. The name of our business is Enjoy Your Party. And we are located in central New Jersey, in the Flemington area. And the history of our business, we provide food service staffing for brides and grooms throughout the area. So if you're having a wedding that's coming up and you need any front of the house or back of the house staff, any culinary team to come and cook your food for your guests, or servers just to serve it, or bartenders to serve your alcoholic beverages or non-alcoholic beverages, we're there to help you.
Okay. So tell me what that, so you guys do, when you say staffing, it's for bartending service, for serving, for even cooking the food, all that stuff? Everything?
We provide everything. A bride and groom can come to us, and they're getting married and they have an idea of what they want to do. They want a special executive chef on hand to especially prepare their meal. We can provide them. If their aunts or their family is cooking all the food and bringing it there, and they just need someone to set it up buffet style, heat the food and present it nice with all the table dressings and the decor on the buffet, we can do that and serve the food.
Okay.
So any aspect on the food service, we do that. On the beverage side, we don't have a liquor license, so we can serve the alcohol. All our bartenders are all tip certified. We have all the insurances that go along with serving the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
We do provide bar kits, non-alcoholic bar kits. So we provide all the the garnishes, the sodas, the ice.
Gotcha.
That goes on the bar as well.
Yeah.
So any aspect of you need, either the front of the house or back of the house, we're the team for you.
So tell me the difference between like front of the house, back of the house. I mean, that's probably industry speak. So what does that mean?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry. Yeah, the back of the house is kind of near and dear to my heart because that's where I started in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But that's where all the culinary magic takes place. The food comes in, it gets cooked from either the sous chef or the regular chef, and appetizers are prepared and plated. Whatever that's got to go on back there. And I think the most critical part of any back of the house is the utility. The dishwasher, the guy that's making sure everything is sanitized so the guests can eat on clean dishes.
Yeah.
Is where all that happens. And the front of the house, is facing the guest. Everyone's in a crisp, clear uniform. Sharply pressed. Shirts, ties, vests, representing you're the host, making sure that the guests are being attended to. Level of top-notch service on the food side, helping them get drinks. Just kind of doing some of the housekeeping things. On what goes on during the wedding. And that's what the front of the house staff is
Gotcha.
there.
All right, cool. How did you get into this, Patrick? You said you were in the back, you were in the kitchen. So what made you decide to go into this?
Well, I've been in the food service industry since I was 16 years old. I started in an ice cream company when I was a kid.
Nice.
And my wife was in the food service business when she was a kid.
Wow, interesting.
Yes. So we both got married, and she had this vision of where do caterers get extra staff when they need them. I mean, not every catering hall is busy 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. So there's got to be a peak in a valley.
Right.
So she started looking at it, and she discovered that there was a need for it, and she started at our dining room table in 1994.
Wow.
Here we are today, almost 26 years later.
Wow.
Grown tremendously, staffing and providing staff to host in 5 different states. We've got 4 offices throughout the country, and a serving staff of about 500 employees.
What states you guys in?
We have an office up in Albany, New York.
Okay.
We have one in Pennsylvania. We have obviously our corporate headquarters here in New Jersey. We have one down in South Florida, down in the Boynton Beach area.
Okay.
And proud to announce that I think it was last week or the week before last, we opened up our Chicago office.
Nice.
So
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. It's been well received out there, and she's picking up some really great big events out there and clients, and it's growing rapidly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how since you guys do both like B2B and B2C, which would be B2B business to business and B2C like couples coming to you. Let's talk about the B2B side for a second. So if I'm a business, I'm a catering company and I need staff, how does it work? What do I do? I come to you, what does that look like?
Well, we're a different type of on that side of a different type of staffing agency, right? We never just take a phone call. Someone calls up and says, I need, 10 servers, and we send them there blindly. That's not one of the things that we've done for 20 some odd years. We'll go out to the customer. We'll send our advanced team in, kind of our training team, and they'll go in and they'll learn the facility. They'll, get down to the detail and find out, where they keep the creamers and the sugars, in the back of the house. Because one of the important things of temporary staffing is we need to assimilate our staff into their staff, right?
That's right.
Or the customer, it's got to be seamless. They can't know, that there's an agency that's out there. So we take a proactive approach. We always looked at it as we're never taking an event for our bottom line. We're always looking at our client's bottom line.
Yeah.
So our advanced team goes out there, spends the time, and when a customer calls in the last minute, I need someone right away. We unfortunately sometimes we have to help.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about that, right? Yeah.
Because it learned a long time ago, if an event doesn't follow the normal process and the right pattern, somewhere along the line something is going wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we try to prevent those. So a lot of our customers, they like it. We do a tremendous amount of corporate stuff on the business side, and off-premise caterers and banquet facilities, hotels, conference centers, and they really like our approach. Because when they come in there, we build a relationship, we build a partnership, and we try to send the same staff there all the time. So their staff is familiar with our staff, and our staff is familiar with the facility. We know what they're trying to do. We're not reinventing the wheel every time we go there, and that's been very successful.
That's great. So that's the ideal situation, right? Like, someone comes to you, hey, we need it. We go in, do some investigation, and then it's awesome. Yeah. So tell me about the B2C side. So the couple comes to you, hey, we need, someone to serve our wedding. Aunt Susie's going to make all the food, and and so, what does that look like?
Well, that's interesting. And one of the things that, we're making our mark here in the industry, and I hope I don't, just, offend some of your viewers and some of the people. But, one of the things that we do, as a staffing agency, is we know how an event is supposed to run. We know the proper staffing levels. We know what's needed in the back and that make sure the operation runs smoothly. We know what the front needs to be, serving style, serving levels, things that need to get done. So when a bride and groom come to us, which happens, I don't know, probably 15, 20 times a day, we kind of try to train them, right? Because we're looking to build a permanent relationship, right? Because, we want the engagement party, we want the rehearsal dinner, we want the wedding, we want the anniversary, the baby's first birthday.
That's right.
And so on down the road. So we're different from, a lot of other people that are in the industry, because we have the hard conversations, right? So it's an education that we're trying to teach to the brides and the grooms, because let's face it, to be honest, brides typically are planning their wedding from when they're 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
Right. They don't need someone to tell them, right, what the flowers should look like or what the dress should look like. They need someone that's going to make sure that the food is served properly, the guests are taken care of, and the staffing levels are there. Because at the end of the day, right, the food's probably going to taste great, most likely, 100% probably going to taste great. The place is going to look gorgeous. But if Aunt so-and-so isn't happy, there's 400, I'm Italian, so if it's on the Italian side, there's going to be 400 phone calls, that Aunt Mabel didn't get her, salad or something.
Yeah.
And that's, what, we try to do, and it's a learning curve, it's a learning curve for, a bride and groom. We get involved with them. We manage their rentals that they need. We make sure that, like, for example, we did an event and the bride said, I want glass water pitchers, on every table. Well, you don't need glass water pitchers on every table because they're, $7 a piece, to rent them. And I can rent you plastic ones that look the same for $1.50, and I can save you, $800-900. And then all of a sudden a light bulb goes off because once you start adding up, money. So our approach to it is very different than anybody else in the industry, right? We look at it as, we're going to give you the staff, we're going to manage your rentals, we're going to provide you with great service, we're going to provide you with, delivered food that's exceptional, whether it's our chefs that are cooking or we're working with your caterer, to make sure, because a lot of caterers and a lot of people think that the caterer is doing the food and they just drop the food off, or they'll come in, with 1 or 2 people and you got a 200, guest wedding and nobody knows, what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are doing catering today, right? Like, so it's like different. So, I mean, I've seen Chick-fil-A cater a wedding. So, I mean, they're just going to, someone's got to go pick it up and they don't drop it off, right? So
Absolutely. The other thing that we get involved with as too on a regular basis, is the event management piece, right? An event planner, and again, I don't mean to offend anyone. An event planner was running, a lot of the operation, but when it comes down to the food service, they got a million things that are going on. No one's managing the staff, right? No one's coordinating with the kitchen, to make sure they're coordinating with the bands of the DJ, which is coordinating the speeches or the cake cutting. So our maitre d's and our captains that come with every event, and they have to be there on every event, that's their specific goal, right? Is to manage the timing, manage the flow of the event, and manage the staff as well.
Yeah, because you got food sitting around, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour when it's ready to go. It's going to be cold by the time it gets out, right? You got to manage the timeline. There's all kinds of logistics.
Yeah. And in addition to that, keep in mind overtimes, right? So if you're 15 minutes behind, you got overtime on the hall, you got overtime on the DJ, you got overtime on everything else, and it becomes expensive. Right. So when they come to us, they're putting their whole their whole trust into us to make sure that it's happening. And again, whether it's a wedding, whether it's an engagement party, a bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah, whatever, we follow the same process. The level of service that you're going to get with Enjoy Your Party is going to be the same, throughout, because we've, got a 25-year brand that we built. We want to make sure that we're protecting it, and we want to make sure that the vision and the dream that whatever the host wanted to have is realized, and we won't deviate from it.
So tell me what so a couple comes to you, they hire you, they want you guys to do their event for them. What goes into after they sign the deal? What type of work goes into what you have to do to prepare for the day?
Well, our event planner, Kate, she's our main event planner. She's out today on. We have a huge event tomorrow that she's put together and coordinated. The initial call comes in, and it's a very interactive information gathering phone call. It's probably, without exaggeration, probably a good half hour to an hour of just understanding what the bride and groom want, what they think and what they want in a lot of cases are different, right? Or what they can afford to, right? So we kind of get the understanding, and then from there Kate goes into motion and she starts pulling all the vendors that we've partnered with over all these years. And the nice part about what we do is we've done events where there's multiple ethnicities, where you have different types of food from different types of, parts of the world. We've got partnerships in just about every aspect. So
Nice.
She understands budgets, she understands what the people want, and then we pull all that together, and we get the tastings done and the samples done, and then it's a long process, of working closely with the bride. But one of the things that they're paying for, is for us to coordinate, right? We're not there to coordinate it, but ask them every 5 seconds a question, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Level of trust that gets built, from us to them. And then
yeah.
we have our weekly wrap-up meetings with the bride and groom, and this week, course correcting, add this, change this, and then we go from there, and it goes from the initial phone call all the way up into the goodnight at the end of the ceremony, and Kate and her team, are with them every step of the way. On the initial on-site visit, Kate makes sure that she brings the maitre d' and the captain that's going to be with that event, so that person is not being introduced to the bride, 2 hours
Yeah.
the day of. All
Yeah.
right, so that person's knows the ins and outs of the event from day 6 or 7 down, from the initial conversation, because
Yeah.
that day of,
Yeah.
it's too late, to introduce the
Way
bride.
too late. Yeah.
So she makes it a point to get them involved every step of the way.
Yeah. So there's a lot of prep work and stuff that happens up front, right?
Yeah,
Initially, and then there's probably a bit of a delay before, and then you guys
yeah,
gather together, and then boom, the day of, right?
yep. I'd probably put it at about 35 to 40 hours, of prep time, before
Yeah.
you get to the day of, and then obviously that day, depending on
Whatever
what
the day
type
is.
of,
Yeah.
it could be 15-hour day or sometimes without.
Yeah.
But at the end, again, we're getting the 1 year anniversary book from there. We're getting the something
Right.
from there, because we're unique in what we do, right? You
Yeah.
don't have to have a big event for our services. You might be just having a simple family Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas Eve dinner, and you need one server,
Yeah.
just to come in and clean. Give
Yeah.
us a call. We can staff you for that.
Yeah.
So it's a partnership that we've got customers that have been with us probably since 1999, and we still got employees
Yeah.
that are still with us
That's
from back.
awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's credit to us.
Yeah, I've been to events where like just small like parties, Christmas parties or whatever, where someone catered in some food or brought in some food, and they just hire a single person server from a local company that's there to serve the food and serve drinks and help people, and yeah, I
We
can
have
totally
a
see it.
we have a sommelier on our staff, so we have a bunch of catering partners that we can do some pairings with, and they can talk about the wine. We've developed over the years to make sure that we have the right staff in place, right? We have
Yeah,
an operations team that does the scheduling, so when they do the schedule, and I know we're deviating from a wedding, but it's also relative. They need to know the makeup of the wedding, the type of wedding it is, because there's all different types, from an older crowd to a young crowd,
yeah, yep,
heavy music, so they understand the personality. So they're matching the staff that they're scheduling for that wedding to the staff to that wedding. So when they get there, it's everybody's in mode.
yeah,
They were all there, and they're not the music's not too loud, or
right.
it's not
Gotcha.
and you got to put someone to work for 10 hours, and if they're not happy, that 10 hours is a long day.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That makes total sense. So,
Yeah.
what advice would you give couples getting married today when they're thinking about this type of service?
Well, it's very simple, and we do a tremendous amount of browsers. We're doing one next Saturday here in New Jersey, and I just tell everybody, go where you go. You know what you want, right? If you're what you want your wedding day to look like. You don't need a lot of the things that you do, right? What you need is a good partner that's gonna kind of help you along the way, manage your budget, manage your event, making sure that all these years that you've been dreaming of your wedding, comes to a reality. You only got that 10 hours, or actually,
Yeah.
as the guest arrived, 5 hours.
Yeah.
You only got that time to make it happen. And a lot of times, if you don't choose the right path, it's going to be a make or break. You can either be very successful or, have a lot of questions the next day. And just go where you got. You know what you need. You don't need anyone to tell you, what you want, because you've been planning it. And I'm not, 25 years that we've been in business, we've always looked at it with them in mind. And is that me?
Sorry about that. That was me.
That's right. That's right. And it's going to the right, the right agency or the right people to make that event happen. That's why Enjoy Your Party has been successful in this space, is because for all the 22 years that we've just been strictly devoted for service, we've built this knowledge, and we've been to many, many events where you kind of scratch your head going, oh my God, we've been to some that, wow, that's great. So we took all that knowledge and transferred it over. So, yeah.
Awesome. So Patrick, let's switch gears a little bit, talk about the business side.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, for you guys in business, what would you say is working well today for you?
Well, it's great. I get this question, on occasion, because everybody has a couple of friends, right? They think they can go into staff, right? They think they
Yeah.
think they can just, I can
Well,
do this.
in any business, right? It's the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. But what's been working well for us, I think, is the way we go to market, right? We're very open. We're very honest with our clients. We know our space, right? We know how to execute events. We know many things that that we belong in, and that's where we live. We don't try to go outside, of our comfort zone, right? We're not, we're not there. We don't overcommit. It's like going to a car dealer and buying shoes. We know where we want to go. We know where we want to stay. So our honesty to our clients, our the way we treat our employees, the way we invoice our pricing, and I hate to say it, but in our 25 years in business, we've never advertised anywhere. Our level of service that we provide has been our best advertisement.
That's awesome.
We get customers all the time, So going to do these bridal events, is kind of interesting for us, because we're going, we're in a space that we never did before.
Yeah.
And we're moving it over, and people are coming to us. Parents of the brides are coming over to us and going, I can't believe that there's an agency that's full service, and we've actually had previous customers come to our events to talk to new customers.
Nice.
To kind of show what we're all about. It's a great feeling, because, like I said, we're looking for the lifetime commitment. We're not looking for the day of.
That's
making
right.
a lot of money on that day. We want.
That's right. That's right. That's good, because I think a lot of businesses kind of they lose sight of that, right? So, they think, oh, weddings are just, there's so many per year and it's just going to, but the reality is a wedding is a opportunity to build customers for a lifetime, right? Not just the bride and groom or the couple that's getting married, but also all the people that are there, right? Opportunity to build customers for a lifetime.
Yep. My grandfather always told me, a little old Italian man from Naples, Italy. He always said, if you want to eat every day, treat people right. If you want to eat once a day or once a month, don't treat people right. So, and that's always stayed with me, and we won't deviate from that. I mean, business is important, but if I got to, if I can't provide the level of service that the customer wants that I can give, we better off just parting ways and preventing a future conversation of the other side of the event that didn't go well.
That's right. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
What would you say are your biggest challenges today?
Our biggest challenge right now is the learning curve, and just the thought process of the client that's out there, right? They think that they need to have a wedding planner, a day of coordinator, a month of coordinator, all these things in between, and us going through, as a staffing agency, and sometimes it just feels like, oh, by the way, you do event planning now. But as our client base has been increasing, and our reputation has been growing, we're getting there. But it's a hard piece, and Kate and her team, when they came from us, and they came from very high profile, companies that weren't, green to the business.
Yeah.
They came because they knew we've worked with them in the past. They knew, where we would go, where we would take this, and the opportunities. Because I think from what all my researchers found, nobody does what we do. You're either a staffing agency, or you're on the event side, and you're planning, and you're just pulling a bunch of vendors together.
Yeah.
But nobody really does what we do, and they their adrenaline rush was to jump onto this. And I got to tell you, I mean, they're lighting the world up on fire. I mean, we're not the world's best wedding planner event
Yeah.
group that's out there, but we've probably got a dozen and a half weddings booked now through the end, dozen and a half from now to the end of the year already, just on the weddings. And then we've got a ton of sweet 16s and bar mitzvahs. We're doing a big bar mitzvah. So it's all starting to resonate with people, but it's just a matter of doing the events, showing our capabilities, and we don't have our own event space either. I mean, we're working out of our 3,000 square foot office here, with our showroom and everything else that we do. So we're our partners are really high on our program too, because we're bringing clients that they never saw before.
Yeah.
So it's a fun aspect of the business. It's really, really exciting.
Something that stuck with me, has stuck with me over a bunch of interviews I've done with planners, is that I feel like the full service planning part is kind of like a very small niche of the market. But what's really more needed is kind of like wedding coordination, and which is a different service than a full planning kind of deal. And I think that's where people are struggling probably the most. And so you doing so many different types of events gives you kind of a really good opportunity to do event coordination, right? Like that's a perfect fit right into what you're doing. It's right up your alley, right? So that's awesome that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, and, you look on the the financial part of it. When you're so involved in every aspect, from the staffing, all the way through on every piece, there's a lot of savings opportunities in there for the bride and the groom, right? Because there's just a lot of moving parts. So we're not specifically bringing this vendor, and I need to get this much from this vendor, as kind of like my commission type thing. So our a la carte program, lets them engage in any level of that they want, and it's important. But the one thing that we do is if we do provide you when we do provide you the staff, there has to be a maitre d' and a captain on that event, right? Because that's the key. The 20 years of planning comes down to those 5 hours and those two key people. If that event doesn't follow those timings and it's not run smooth, it could be a total disaster.
Gotcha.
So we make sure that we're specifically involved and trained to make sure that happens.
Do you find a challenge in finding qualified staff or good staff and consistently?
Yeah, absolutely. As the economy, and the unemployment rate shrinks, there's people out there. Maria, who's our trainer, is actually a certified school teacher. So she's developed a very strong training curriculum, very interactive. In our classroom there that we have in our office, it's kind of like a mini banquet room setup.
So teach people how to do it.
Maria walks them through, every aspect of proper table setting, all the, and I'm sure we've been to all these events. And one of the pet peeves that that Maria's got in big bold letters in her training program is, and you've probably been to a ton of events before. And when you look at the table setting, you know, and the silverware, if you haven't noticed it before, I guarantee when you're done, you're gonna start thinking about it. If you look at the silverware, there's a slight angle, right, to when the silverware is set on the table, and you can tell exactly how that person is setting the table, right, because they're standing on the side of it when they're setting the silverware, and they're moving to the next one, but they're not standing in front of it to make sure that the silverware is straight. So one of my pet peeves over the years is in their training program is making sure that when the table is set, the person standing right behind the place setting, so everything is straight. Because, and I'm telling you, if you go through this, you'll notice.
I'm going to go look now.
It's a slight angle, and you can tell which way they set the table. It's to the right or to the left, based on the way that the silverware is angled.
Yeah, I'm going to look now. Thanks a lot for that, Patrick.
And we teach that in our training class. I mean, you know, we spend time doing that, and that's important. It's the little details, you know, that are unseen, you know, by a lot of times the host, but it's the important things, you know, that our trained eye in this business is used to, down to the uniform, you know, hair up in the, you know, the right place, the, you know, guys with the clean shaven, you know, and all those little things, because again, at the end of the day, no matter how beautiful the place looks and how great the food is, if the service isn't spot on, you know the conversations afterwards.
Yeah,
you know, and it's and we don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I hear you. So as a business owner, what advice would you give other business owners if they were just starting up or even, you know, young in the business?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I just had this conversation with a startup about a week or so ago, and she was kind of asking me, and I said to her, worry about yourself. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what the next person does. You got to worry about yourself. And as a business owner, if you get wrapped up in the day-to-day operations of someone else's business, you're blind to your own.
Yeah.
And if
That's
you don't,
a good point.
right? If you don't watch your team, and you don't watch your staff, and you don't watch what you're doing because you're unfocused, you'll never be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at the numbers, I mean, and I love your reports that you send out, and we use those on a regular basis.
Thanks.
The percentages, and we kind of you know, filter our niche where, you know, and what you're reporting is kind of like where we're going, because it just works perfectly.
Thanks.
But when you see some of these, you know, these folks that they want to be something that they're not, you know, in a space that because someone else is doing it or whatever. I'm not saying don't follow the trends, but I'm saying if you don't watch yourself, you're never gonna get anywhere.
That's
and
good.
You'll be gone by tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good advice. Last question, Patrick. Give me your best or worst wedding or business story.
Well, I got it. It's a combination of the best
Sounds
and the
good.
worst.
All right, let's do it.
The worst nightmare from the bride and groom, and the best story ending happened about a year and a half ago. I was in the Saturday afternoon. I was sitting in my office, and I don't even know why I was here. I mean, it was kind of one of those, you know, one of those days, like right after 4th of July, where it's a little quiet. You know, you finally get a breather. And I'm sitting in my office, and the phone rings, and I answered it, and this poor girl was on the phone crying hysterical. Apparently, she was getting married the following weekend, and the caterer that she used was gone.
Wow.
Literally gone. Business
out of business.
Up. Nobody knew where he was, and she was getting married on a farm. And she was on the phone, and I never met her before. She was a friend of a friend of a friend who used our services, and she gave us a call, and I helped her. I mean, we pulled a team together. You know, we did a pig roast barbecue on this farm.
Wow.
With hay rides. You know, we put the whole thing together in the tent. We get up to do the walkthrough, and the groom actually cut down a tree to make a bar because they wanted that farmer. So he literally cut a tree down and was making the the bar out of the street.
Wow.
Put this event together. The parents, the bride, the groom. It was just watching the end of the night, just the sheer excitement on their face. And I'm trying to think of a movie that they couldn't thank us enough that we have our own bus, right? We have our own staffing bus. So we go to like large events. A lot of people will meet here in the office. We'll load up in our bus and we'll drive there. And I remember the staff getting on the bus, and the back door opens on the bus, the emergency exit.
Yeah.
And the groom is like trying to shove this bar that he built from this tree that weighed probably 1,000 pounds into the bus. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know how to thank you people enough. Please take this bar as a token. I'm like, I can't even get it in, put it in my office.
Wow.
But it was such a great event. We were able to put together, a caterer, a tenting company, all the rentals, and we were right on schedule, and she came out of the house, jumped in the hay wagon with her, with her father, and they kind of went out to the field and
That's
had
awesome.
the ceremony, and it was just an incredible event. So it was a combination of the best and the worst, right? It was the worst possible nightmare for them, and great scenario at the end. So
that's awesome.
But
you guys get a lot of those calls, like last minute kind of thing?
We do.
Yeah.
We do, because unfortunately, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. Some people, are here today and gone tomorrow. And one of the things that also separates us as well is because we're so diverse in our staffing on the corporate side, business to business side, the business to consumer side. One of the things that is very interesting, which I'm still struggling with, when a bride and groom go to a tasting, right, and they have their tasting today, what is this, March 6, 2020, and their wedding is March 7, 2021. The tasting today, right, is probably gonna be different next year because that chef that cooked the food today is not there next year.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
But the tenure and the longevity of our team, because there's always, we treat them well, obviously, which keeps people around, and we give them, a bunch of different looks throughout the course of the year. So, if you're getting tired of doing the event, the wedding season, I can put you in a corporate setting, or I can put you. So it keeps everyone active, and what happens is it's consistency, right? So we're sending a chef to an event. The food that you're tasting today is going to be cooked by the same chef. I can't say 100% of the time, but you got to probably
but most of the time,
yeah, and that's important. That's
it
That's
is.
really important.
Well, I mean, the fact that most of your employees have been around for a long time and you guys are still in business 25 years later, I mean, that says a lot at your ability to do stuff. And then you're growing your business, right? Like you're in 5 locations now, right? Just opened up in Chicago. I also noticed you guys do franchising. So what's that about? Let's talk about that real fast.
One of the things that we've recognized over the years is there's certainly a need for well-qualified, trained food service workers. However, if you don't have the right team in place and you don't know the staff individually and personally that you're sending out to an event, it can be catastrophic, right?
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you don't know all your staff, right? You just lose. They get lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
So to grow the business organically and into the areas that we've gone to, where you would put managers there. Now, keep in mind, again, because we do a lot of corporate stuff, all the major food management companies out there rely on us for their staff.
Yeah.
And a lot of calls for those positions, happen around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when they're getting call outs, from their individual staff.
Right.
And quite honestly, when there's a manager in place, sometimes they don't hear the phone during the night, right? So we were disappointing some customers, that we couldn't help them because no one was answering the phone.
Yeah.
And there are some other, nationwide agencies where the call will go into a call center and then it'll get farmed out, and then, 5-6 hours go by. And then in the corporate world, 5 or 6 hours from the start time, the day's over, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
that's
in at
right.
6
Yep.
and you're done by 2. So we fought long and hard internally, on how do we grow the business. We wanted to grow it organically, but when you put a hold on. There we go. When you put a manager in place, sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's why we went down the franchising right. So our target market for franchises are food service professionals, whether you're a chef, a food service director, someone in the food service business,
right,
or an event planner, that's looking to, maybe expand on, their business, so something more of an all year round type opportunity. So that's why the franchising came in place. So Enjoy Your Party is a franchise, and our, we're very quiet in the background because we're very quiet and who we pick. The franchisees that we have now actually came from our customers, where they understand food service, and they realize that, quite honestly, there's a staffing need invoice, and there's a staffing need what the payroll is, and there's something in between.
Yep.
And you can do this from West Palm Beach, Florida, or the mountains skiing in Colorado, because all you need is a phone and an internet.
Yeah.
Certain times of the year.
Yeah.
So we've been successful that way. So that's why we're franchising.
That's great.
Yeah. You have to be an owner in this business, right? You can't. Anybody can make a ham sandwich, right? A 6-inch sub is 6 slices of ham. 12-inch sub is. But this here, if you don't provide that personal touch to it, you'll never be successful. So
yeah, that's a good point.
So
Patrick, thanks so much. Thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend.
Me too. Thank you very much. I certainly enjoyed it, and again, thank you for your reports that you sent out, because I love the information. It's very useful tool for us, and it kind of gives us a check and balance to, what our marketing plan is and what our game plan is, and for your hard work and your dedication putting that report together. Either you're looking at my numbers, or I'm looking at your numbers, but we're pretty much spot on. So
thanks, man. Have a good one. Okay.
You too, thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it with other people. Also, if you're getting married or you work in the wedding industry, I would love to interview and share your information with other people. Send me a text, 520-399-8580, or shoot me an email at letschat@wedding.report.